Federal judge just lowered the hammer on Obama's IRS pay brutal price for targeting conservatives. For years now, conservatives have felt betrayed over the IRS targeting Tea Party groups. Obama weaponized the agency and financially strangled many of those groups into silence. In my opinion, it was one of the greatest travesties of justice I have ever seen, and what made it even worse was that it was blatant. The IRS, Obama, the DOJ and those such as John McCain did not even bother to hide it much. They stalled these patriots from obtaining tax-exempt status, which put many of them out of existence. Well, sometimes justice is long in coming, but it looks like it has arrived. Sort of. A federal judge just lowered the legal hammer on Obama's IRS over all of this. And let me be clear, it is still staffed by Obama's people. The IRS is about to pay a brutal price for targeting conservatives. It's not enough, but it's a start. On Wednesday of last week, U.S. District Judge Michael R. Baird approved a multi-million-dollar settlement in the case. I could not believe my ears when the judgment came down, and I was thrilled over it. They are still mulling over what to do about Lois Lerner and her missing emails. The settlement does not include an admission of guilt by the IRS, unfortunately, but they are having to cough up $3.5 million in payouts to the hundreds of conservative nonprofit groups that they targeted during the Obama reign. That sounds like a lot, but it is only a drop in the bucket. I really hope there is more to come, but this is probably the end of it. And if real justice was doled out here, people such as Lois Lerner and Henry Kerner would see jail time. I doubt that will ever happen, but it should. The IRS offered a sincere apology to Tea Party groups in a case filed in federal court in the District of Columbia, and the government agreed to a declaratory judgment that it is wrong to scrutinize a tax return because of a taxpayer's name or political philosophy. An apology is nowhere near enough over something like this. It shows that when a government agency desires to target citizens based on their viewpoints, a price will be paid, said Edward Green, the attorney who led the class action suit against the IRS. 9 months after Trump became president, in October of 2017, the IRS finally agreed to settle with the Tea Party over all of this. This is the first time that the IRS has ever, in my memory at least, had to settle with conservative groups in this manner. When an agency such as the IRS becomes so powerful, it can be used as a weapon against those that disagree with the current political party in control. It's time for that agency to be scrapped and be rebooted. I'm not frankly aware of any other class action lawsuit against the IRS for anything where the IRS paid money. Citizens for Self-Governance President Mark Meckler, who funded the lawsuit, said. And because the IRS still remains intact just as it always has been, this will certainly happen again. Meckler stated, "I'm 100% certain it could happen again." He's right, of course. In fact, the IRS has been used by a number of presidents against American citizens they wanted to be imprisoned or silenced. Al Capone comes to mind. I'm sure that list is pretty long. When Obama got caught manipulating and weaponizing the IRS over this, he pretended to bring in a fixer to handle it. John Koskinen was tasked with supposedly repairing the damage that was done. He vowed to reform the IRS and restore its reputation. He covered up the mess, and the IRS to this day has the worst reputation of just about any agency out there except perhaps the FBI these days. The New York Post pointed out 2 years ago, Koskinen was supposed to fix the IRS after the scandal erupted over targeting conservatives. Yet his real purpose seemed to be running interference, covering up information and shielding the agency, and Team Obama, from consequences. That's exactly what he did. Koskinen was the one who claimed that Lois Lerner's emails had gone missing and was later shown to be lying. Lerner invoked the Fifth Amendment and refused to testify. Her statement was incredibly arrogant. She brazenly claimed that she had done nothing wrong but refused to testify further. To this day we have not seen her emails, and I am positive they still exist at the IRS or the DOJ or somewhere in the government. None of these Obama officials ever had to pay a price for what they did, although it was obviously corrupt and illegal. Most of them retired with no price to pay at all. In essence, Obama got away with his destruction of the greatest patriot movement in the U.S. since the Boston Tea Party. You'll never read about it in the history books though, because those in power write the history. While this judgment is penance of a sort, it does not impact those who are guilty of the crime at all. That's not right and not real justice in my book. President Trump has greatly reduced taxes and regulations. Many Americans can now file their taxes on a postcard. That alone makes him a great president. I wish he would scrap the IRS altogether and go to a flat tax. Another agency would have to be formed to oversee it, but it would be a fresh start. The IRS is a danger to every American and should go away. Eliminating the agency goes right to the heart of freedom in the United States. If Trump did that,